My mother told everyone I was a liar, until the truth about my brother came out. For 10 years, my family believed my older brother, Samuel, was the responsible one, and I was the difficult daughter who could never be trusted. It started when we were teenagers. Whenever something went missing, my mother questioned me first. Whenever Samuel made a mistake, there was always an excuse. He's under pressure. He didn't mean it. You know how boys are. I learned very early that defending myself only made things worse, so I stopped arguing. Then, shortly after my father died, everything changed. My father had left behind a small family business and a house that had been in our family for decades. My mother announced that Samuel would manage everything because he was the eldest. I didn't object. I simply asked her to make sure everything was documented properly. She became offended. "Why don't you trust your own brother?" she asked. I wanted to say that trust wasn't the problem. Accountability was. But I kept quiet. For the next 2 years, Samuel managed the business. The company struggled, but whenever I asked questions, my mother accused me of trying to embarrass him. Then one morning, I received a call from the bank. There was a loan application connected to the family business with my name listed as a guarantor. I had never signed it. I immediately went to my mother. She looked terrified. "Samuel said you agreed to help him," she whispered. I told her I had done nothing of the sort. She called me a liar. That was the moment something inside me finally broke. I stopped trying to convince them. Instead, I hired a lawyer and requested copies of every document connected to the business. What I discovered was far worse than a forged signature. Samuel had been transferring company money into an account belonging to one of his friends. For 2 years, he had been blaming the company's losses on rising costs while secretly draining the business. But there was one thing he didn't know. My father had taught me how to keep financial records before he died. He had always told me, numbers don't have feelings. They tell you exactly where the truth is. I spent 3 nights going through the records. By the end, I had a complete timeline of Samuel's transactions. But I still didn't confront him. I wanted to know why he had done it. Then I discovered something that shocked me. The money wasn't going toward luxury cars or expensive vacations. Samuel had been paying enormous medical bills for his young daughter. He had borrowed money from the business after his daughter's illness left him desperate. He knew what he was doing was wrong, but instead of asking the family for help, he kept stealing because he was terrified they would judge him. For the first time, I understood his fear. But understanding someone doesn't erase the consequences of their actions. I went to my mother and showed her everything. She cried when she realized how badly she had treated me. But I told her I wasn't interested in revenge. I wanted the business protected and Samuel held accountable. When we finally confronted him, he broke down. He admitted everything. Then came the biggest surprise. My mother revealed that my father had left a private letter for each of us. She had never given me mine because Samuel had convinced her that my father had been disappointed in me. She finally handed me the envelope. Inside was a short message from my father telling me that he knew I was the most cautious person in the family and that he trusted me to protect everyone when things became difficult. I cried because for years I had believed my father had thought I was never good enough. Samuel eventually confessed publicly to the family and agreed to repay what he could. We saved the business, but he stepped away from managing it. My mother apologized for treating me like the family troublemaker. I forgave her, but I told her that forgiveness would have to come with changed behavior. Years later, Samuel and I repaired our relationship, not because what he did was acceptable, but because he finally stopped hiding behind excuses. And I stopped accepting the role my family had given me. I learned something that changed the way I looked at family forever. Being misunderstood doesn't mean you have to spend your entire life proving yourself. Sometimes the truth takes longer to arrive, but when it does, you should be standing on solid ground, not begging people to believe you.